Hey there guys, it's Tina and I'm back. And I know, okay, elephant in the room. I sound like this, right? It's a long story and I'm gonna share all of that with you guys in this video. So if you're also back, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again. If you're new, this is not how I normally sound, but we're gonna explain all that. But if you like what you see, maybe consider subscribing because we have tons of fun here on this channel. I know I don't sound like it, but we have tons of fun here talking about makeup and all things beauty. So please subscribe if you like what you see, but no pressure, just, if you like what you see. Anyway, I have a life update for you guys, all right? So when I last left you, my last video, I mentioned that I was traveling for work and I was actually gone for 3 weeks. Now, it may not have seemed like 3 weeks to you guys because I had videos like pre-filmed and posted while I was gone, which I'm gonna applaud myself because that is the first time I've ever been able to like really pre-film and have content ready to go. Mind you, a couple of those were sponsored videos, so I kind of had to do them, but at the same time, that's not the point, okay? I'm proud of the fact that I was able to actually film and edit and get things ready to go while I was away. So that's the last video that I posted, that I was on my way to the airport and now I am officially back home, all right? Also, in my last vlog video, you guys should check it out to catch up in case you don't know what has been going on. So in the last vlog video, I mentioned that I was moving for work. So I'm packing up my stuff and you've probably seen some of my declutter videos where I'm getting rid of a lot of my makeup. I'm going through my stash and just decluttering old expired makeup, things that I'm no longer using, things that I know I'm definitely not using, things that I can donate to my mother's church, and things that just need to get trashed. Okay, so I'm going through my makeup collection. I'm going through like my apartment and getting rid of things that I don't need. What I really need to do is go through my closet. That is going to be a big task, but I'm moving, right? That's the last you heard from me, that I am moving to Connecticut, or I was moving to Connecticut for my new job, or my previous new job. I know. So like I said, there's a lot going on in this video and I just wanted to sit down and catch you guys up. So let's start from that. So that last vlog I mentioned my job and that I had to relocate to Connecticut and I was getting ready for that move, right? And I'd also mentioned that I wasn't quite happy with what I was doing. I was very stressed out. The job just didn't turn out to be what I expected it to be. I interviewed for this position. It sounded amazing. It sounded right up my alley. It was just what I wanted to get into. And let me tell you this, all right? A recruiter reached out to me for that position. This was back in January I started this job. So the first week of January I started this new job. I left my old job of 15 years. Glad I did because they sucked. The way they treated me at the end, I'm so glad I left. Like, I really don't want to go back. I would kind of go back if I had certain managers overseeing me, right? But how I left, the managers I left under, just a bad taste in my mouth, right? And they didn't treat me well after 15 years. Like, I dedicated my life to this job for 15 years. So if you can learn anything from this situation is don't get stuck in a job for 15 years where they don't really value you and they could care less if you leave tomorrow. So bye to that job. Anyway, so I was kind of not seeing eye to eye with my manager. I requested to work remotely and they told me no. Even though I've been working remotely for the last 2 years, and even though other managers have approved other engineers to work fully remote, they do the same job I do, but yet I get denied, right? So that's the first thing that kind of ticked me off. And then a recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn. Another tip you can get from me is if you have a LinkedIn profile for your current position and you're open to new jobs, definitely update your LinkedIn profile to say that you're actively looking for a job. Narrow it down by the area that you want to work into. So you can choose remote, you can choose a state like I chose New York and Florida, which is really where I want to be, right? Or a remote option. So a recruiter reached out to me from this company, a company that I've worked with through my former job, right? And I was like, let me just hear what they have to say. I went through the interview process. Like, they reached out. They were like, oh, you seem like a really good fit. Oh, I need to detangle this necklace. Oh, no. So they're like, you seem like a really good fit. Can you send over your resume? Let me forward it to the hiring manager, which is what recruiters do, right? They reach out to people who they think will fit the role that they are hiring for. And then they'll get your resume. They'll speak to you first, which is what the recruiters do. They'll have that initial conversation about the role, the position, the company. They'll tell you what they're looking for. And if you're interested, they'll move forward in the hiring process and send your information, your resume, and all that to the hiring manager. And then the hiring manager will take a look at your resume, your qualifications, and see if they want to move forward and interview you. So I went through the recruitment process, spoke to the recruiter. It was a quick conversation, like 20 minutes, but always plan on having a conversation for at least a half hour. So I had that conversation. They forwarded me on to the hiring manager and they wanted to interview me. So I was like, all right, perfect. So I went through the whole interview process. I interviewed, and I think I mentioned this before, so I'll just speed through it. So I interviewed with one manager up front that was meant to be my manager. So they had multiple positions open, and I interviewed with the first hiring manager. He was great. I really enjoyed speaking to him. He gave me a lot of background information about the company and like what they do. And then he was like, hey, do you want to speak to someone that already works here that you would be working with, not for, but with, and find out what their experience is? So yeah, I spoke to that person too. So that initial interview with that hiring manager was about an hour. And then I spoke to someone that's on his team. This is someone that was kind of doing what I was expected to do, but I would be on a more senior level. So I would be taking on tasks that were more global rather than local. But I spoke to that person and I was on the phone with him for a good hour and a half, going on 2 hours. And I'm like, child, I gotta go. And speaking to him, I wasn't really impressed, let's say. I mean, really smart guy. Right? It wasn't him, but the way he was laying out the job and like what he does, I'm just like, He was saying a lot about work-life balance, like there's so much to do, they're so overloaded. And I kind of understand that because right now there's a shortage in the workforce, right? A lot of companies are short-staffed, so I expect the workload to be kind of up there, which I was already experiencing anyway, so I'm like, you know, okay, fine, whatever. And then a couple of days later, I interviewed with another hiring manager, right? So they're different departments and they have openings for all the departments, so they're like, they want me to speak to this manager, right? So I spoke to that manager, and that manager happens to be from my old company, right? She had just left, and so we had a lot in common. She understood where I was coming from because she did what I was doing currently, right? So had that interview. She was great, loved her, and she also had like an assistant manager on the call. He was more senior. She was brand new, like she was just a couple of months in. So I spoke to him as well. He was great, like really knowledgeable, and I love working with knowledgeable people because I want to learn from them, right? So spoke to him, great. Then I spoke to, no, the first interview I had, hold up. The first interview I had was with the director, which both of these hiring managers report to. So I spoke to the director first. I forgot to say that. So that was my first interview, which was about an hour long. Then I spoke to the first hiring manager, then his direct report, then the other two managers, right? Those two managers were on the same call, so it was fine. All right. A lot of people I spoke to, right? But to me, I was like, all right, I'm getting the interview experience. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but the job that I had before this was my first job out of college. I did have an internship at Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Like that was my internship, and I've been a waitress and a bartender, right? But I never really had a corporate job outside of my old job, right? So 15 years, fresh out of school. Come to think of it, I don't think I really interviewed before. Like I spoke to Pepsi, but what was that about? I think that was also for an internship. So my first official corporate job, corporate interview, I got the job right away. And I was offered the job on the spot. I've been really lucky in my career. I will say, like when I think back, I'm like, wow, you really lucked out. Now I graduated in December and I didn't land this job until April, but I was going to different job fairs and stuff. but I didn't land any official interviews until that one in April, right? And I didn't even apply for the job because the recruiter from that company reached out to me. It was an HR recruiter, but they had reached out to me because my resume, I uploaded it to, at that time, what was it? Was it Indeed? It was one of those like job seeker websites. I think it was Indeed. It may have been Indeed, but I'm not sure. But it's one of those websites, right, where you upload your resume and you put in like keywords, what you're looking for, your location, and then recruiters from various companies can go in and seek talent that fit positions that they have open, right? So I didn't even apply for this job. They reached out to me and were like, hey, we saw your resume, we want to interview you. And I went out, did this interview, all right, and I was so nervous. And I landed the job the same day. That manager, my first manager, is still my favorite manager to date. He really believed in me and he hired me on the spot. We bonded over bartending, believe it or not. So we were going through my resume. They were telling me about the position. You know, the interview, they're running through like the behavioral questions and blah, blah, blah. So something had come up about customer service, right? And he said, hey, there's no customer service reference on your resume. And I'm like, obviously not. I mean, it's a professional resume. I have my degree information, my school information, like my experience there, and then my internship. But professionally, I never worked in the industry and I'm not going to put something random on my resume, right? So he was like, yeah, but outside of like your resume, do you have any customer service experience? And I was like, yeah. So I was a receptionist at a doctor's office, you know, I did medical billing, blah, blah, blah. And I was also a waitress and a bartender, right? But I'm like, obviously I'm not gonna put that on my professional resume. He's like, hold up, you're a bartender? He was a bartender and he was still bartending at the time. That's a funny thing. So we bonded over bartending and, you know, we were swapping stories about just sitting down, talking to people. People come into bars and just vent, tell you about their day, their problems or whatever. So you are definitely doing customer service. So we bonded over that. And I think that's what sealed the deal. Like he really wanted to hire me. So then I spoke to the HR person after that. This was in-person interviews at the time, remember? That's what you did. So I spoke to him. His director came in, so his manager came in. Spoke to him too. And then the HR she was the manager at the time. I spoke to her and, you know, again, behavioral questions. And then of course she's asking me like what I'm looking for benefits wise and salary wise. I didn't know what to say, child. I was like, I don't know. And she said, I asked you that because we want to make you an offer right now. Excuse me? Because in my head, right, everybody says you have to do a first interview, then you're going to do a follow-up interview, and then you're going to send out your thank you letter, and they're going to like reach out to you and then make you the offer. And like, I thought it was a whole process, right? No, they offered me the job on the spot. They were like, here's your offer letter. And I'm like, because, you know, like when I finished talking to the manager and his director, they were like, oh, can you wait in the waiting area? And then I spoke to the HR manager like, probably like 15 minutes later, and she had the offer letter. So obviously they had told her like, speak to her and offer her the job. And I'm like, I was like, y'all, when I tell you I left that freaking office, I went outside and I was jumping up and down because I was so freaking excited. I called my mom. I'm like, mommy, I got the job. I can't, right? Now, you have to play it cool, right? So I played it cool. They're like, oh, you know, we'll give you up to 5 days to accept the offer if you're interested, and then we'll do the background check and the drug test and all this, right? I was already accepting this job. Like, what? Excuse me. Salary, great. Out the gate, like fresh graduate, shut your mouth. I was accepting that job, okay? So I knew what was going on, but I was playing it cool, like, okay. So this is me like, oh yeah, I'll take some time to review the offer, you know, go through the benefits package, and then, you know, think about my other options, and I'll give you a response within 5 days. Girl, I waited 3 days. Those were some long days, child. I really thought I was doing something by holding out for 3 days before I accepted the job, but I accepted the job. So there you have the story of how I got my first job. So I spent 15 years in that position, right? And I've gone through various managers since then, and my last manager sucked ass. Like, terrible manager. And his manager, she sucks even more. Like, she's so bad. So now, the second job that I just started in January, right? This manager, remember the one that I said is from my old company? So she worked with that old manager that just sucks. We were like swapping stories. Anyway, I really felt comfortable with these people, right? But I wasn't really ready to move around. Like Connecticut, I'm like, do I really want to? You know, I really want a remote position, but you know, for the right offer I might, you know. And then the recruiter reached out to me, like checking in, asking me how it went, giving me feedback from them. She's like, they really like you, so expect an offer, but what are you looking for salary wise? And with this job posting, they actually had like the salary range on it, which is the best thing to do. Like, give me the salary range so I know what I'm looking at. So I shot high, all right? I shot really high. Like, I shot for a 30% bump in my salary, okay? Because I'm like, for it to be worth it to me, I need a good solid bump, right? So I shot high. I went for the high end of the salary range. I maxed out. I was like, if they offer me this, then I'll take it. She's like, all right, that's what we're going with. We're factoring your years of experience and the fact that they really like you. We're gonna shoot for it, right? So we went with the maximum for the salary range. And I think that's what recruiters need to do. Did you guys see that tweet with the recruiter that was like, oh, my candidate, she gave me a low salary and she could have asked for like 20,000 more or 30,000 more, but I didn't let her know that. I just let her get the low salary because that's not my place to be telling you how to value yourself. And I'm like, what a bitch. My recruiter was like, girl, we going for it. We doing this, all right? Because it's not money out of your pocket. Like, why are you... Anyway, so we shot high, and I didn't think they would ever, okay, match it. I was like, they're not going to match this, right? They matched it. They called me up a couple of days later and like, okay, we want to make you an offer. This is a verbal offer, you know, should we send out the offer letter? And I'm like, so you're going to give me what I asked for? All right. I'm like, oh, but is there a relocation package? Because I'm not trying to pay for my own relocation. So they added that on to the offer, right? Which is things you should really ask for. You should ask for a sign-on bonus, okay? Listen, value yourself. Ask for the salary you think you're worth. Don't lowball yourself. Look at Glassdoor, look at the salary ranges, and really figure out what your value is based on your degrees. I have a master's degree and 15 years experience, so we're shooting high, okay? I could have probably even gone higher. But anyhow, I also asked for the relocation package, of course, and then I didn't really ask for a sign-on bonus, but I could have, right? So anyway, accepted the offer, started in January. My job did not even try to counter offer. They did nothing. All I asked them for, they could have kept me. All I asked for was to work remote, and I would have traveled back and forth to the office a couple of times every quarter. Like, it wasn't even a big deal. And like I said, someone on my team was actually working fully remote already, but they were like, oh, that's kind of grandfathered in. But yeah, new people were requesting it and getting it approved. But whatever, your loss. Your loss. So that kind of pushed me to take the job too. One, huge bump in salary, which, let me tell you now, this is another tip from me to you based on my experience and experiences from colleagues. The easiest way to get a 5-figure bump in your salary is to actually change jobs, switch companies, switch careers. That's when you're gonna get that 5-figure jump. Do not expect these companies to give you a merit increase or like a promotion increase that's gonna be in the 5-figure range. If you wanna get $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 jump, you're gonna need to switch jobs, okay? Get uncomfortable, do it, okay? Learn from my experience, do it, because this job that you're spending 15 years at, like I did, does not value you as much, okay? Jump around. So I was like, I'm moving around. So I moved around, right? Long story, right? And I'm still not even halfway through, like, this is gonna be a long story time. So I started this new job in January, right? So new year, new me, like, who this, right? And I started under the manager that I really liked, which is the one from my previous job. Her and I really bonded. I really enjoyed her. So I was like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna work with her, woman power, all this stuff. Start the job, 2 people quit right away. So instead of doing the role that I was hired for, I ended up picking up whatever they left behind and like fill in those gaps, which wasn't fair to me because one of the projects was like a global project. And I don't know anything about the company. I don't know anything about their products. I don't know anything about their systems. Like, I'm like fresh off the boat, right? I don't know what's going on. And you toss me in the deep end with this global project and I have to learn everything new as well as take this on, which was a really high priority project, right? Which is fine. I'm like, all right, I'll take it on. Then I had to take on this other role that this other guy left behind and I'm like, I don't like this. And you guys have probably heard me complain, and I was complaining because I was really stressed out. I didn't like what I was doing. And then here's what happened. So the director, remember, I interviewed with him first. Really nice guy. Like, I really liked him. But instead of now reporting to my manager that I was hired under, they swapped me and put me under the director. So I was directly reporting to the director. I did not need to repeat that, right? I was reporting now directly to the... I said it again. Oh my God. So now I was reporting to the director, right? Which put me in a more global position. But I'm a senior person, so it's fine, right? I thought it was fine. But like I said, with this project, I'm like, oh my God, I really hate this project. And the guy that left that project behind is also from my former company. I'm giving you all the tea. So he's also from my former company, right? And he left them too. Here's the thing. He relocated from California to Connecticut. Can you imagine? And he was only in this job for 8 months. 8 months, so he didn't even make it to a year. And here's the cincher. Wait, I'll get into that. He was only there for 8 months. 8 months, and this project that he was working on pretty much did him in. And you could tell he was unhappy and like he wasn't really doing well with the project that they had him on. But he did such a great job with it that I was like, you know, and he left. Here's the thing. He left without a job lined up. He literally left and was unemployed because he was fed up and pissed off. Imagine leaving a professional corporate position, okay, 8 months in after relocating from across the country, from California to Connecticut. You relocated. They paid for his relocation. He got the relocation package as well. You relocated and you quit the job after 8 months? Like, imagine how frustrated you must be for that to happen. And that was like a red flag to me, right? I was like, ooh, that's not good, right? And then the second guy that left, he was only there for 10 months. Now, technically, he wanted to do something different. He also wanted to relocate he wanted to go to Massachusetts, and he wanted to do more design work. So, okay, that made more sense because what he was doing was not design related. So I could understand that, and he got a job. Like, okay, he got a job, he's moving on. Fine, hold up. Child, we're gonna get into that too. So, he left the job after 10 months. So I'm like, how are these people just leaving like this? Like, what's going on, right? And lo and behold, I found out what was going on. And my mom, I complained so much. Like, you guys don't understand. I don't complain about work. Like, I'm going to do my job. Like, I'm going to get it done. Even if it's difficult, even if it's time consuming, I'm going to get it done. Even if I'm stressed out, right? So I was complaining about this job so much. Even my mom was like, listen, leave the job. Leave the job. Remember, they bought their house in Fort Lauderdale. So she was like, just come stay with us. It doesn't matter. Like, you can live here until you figure it out. Like, find a job down here. You're so unhappy. I hate hearing this. I hate seeing you like this. Like, come home, child. I'm like, mommy, that's cute, but no. Like, I'm not gonna live with my mom. I'm like, unless I'm like really in desperate straits, but I was not at that point. Like, okay, no offense, mommy, love you, but I'm not living with you. Absolutely not. But like, it was that bad, right? So then, here's the update. Here's the major update. I got another job offer. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Shut it up. So I was mentioning this, right? So remember the guy I told you left after 8 months? So here's the stipulation for the relocation, right? If you leave within 24 months, so 2 years, you have to pay them back for the relocation, all right? So if they paid for you to move and you don't stay there for 2 years, you're gonna have to pay them back. I was packing up my stuff, getting ready to move to Connecticut because I was already 3 months in. They're like pressuring me, like, when are you gonna relocate? We need you in the office 3 days a week. Like, when are you gonna do this? I literally put my down payment on an apartment because I went apartment hunting. Like I said in my last vlog, check that out. I went apartment hunting. Like, I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. Even if I don't do it for a long time, I'm still gonna do it, right? So I was ready. Imagine being tied in for 2 years, or you're gonna pay them back. So this guy that left after 8 months, moving from California, now has to pay them back. Meanwhile, he didn't even leave for another job. Child, don't even get me started. Anyway, so I was like I put my deposit down and it was non-refundable, right? And the people at the apartment were like, all right, so we're gonna give you 2 weeks to come in with the security deposit, right? And your first month's rent. And I'm like, all right, they did all the background check and all that. Like, I was 2 weeks out. Like, I was ready, okay, to move. Y'all understand what's going on here? I was ready. Like, I was like resigned to it. I was ready, all right? I got a call. From, well, no, I got a message on LinkedIn. Again, use LinkedIn to your benefit, okay? Use it to your advantage. So LinkedIn, they're chilling. One of my former managers, so remember I told you my favorite manager. So the assistant manager to him, who they call like engineering leaders, he left my company about 12 years ago. He reached out to me on LinkedIn. He's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, hey, what's going on? And we were catching up, like shooting the shit, you know, shooting the breeze. And he was like, so I never thought you'd leave, you know, our old company. And I'm like, right? He's like, you've been there for a while. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I never thought you would leave. He's like, but since you did, can we talk? Can we talk? And I was like, all right, let's jump on a call. So we jumped on a call, right? He was telling me about the other company he's now with, and like he's a manager there, and he's running through like what they do and who's on the team and all this. Come to find out, four of my former colleagues are also working on his team right now. Okay, so 4 people, well, he makes 5. So 5 people from my old company that I used to work with directly, like these are direct people that I used to work with, are now working with this new company. In addition to other people from my old company that I don't necessarily know, like I never worked with directly, but they're also from my old company. So it's like the old company, like we took a chunk and they're now over at this new company. He's telling me about like the lowdown and everything. And I'm like, So he's like, we've been talking about you for years now, but we never thought you would leave. But I saw that you did, and I wanted to reach out to see if you're happy in your new position. And I'm like, who is putting this out into the universe? Because I was so unhappy. Like, y'all don't understand. I was so unhappy. So when he called, I was like, what? You know? And I already had an interview lined up for another company, right? That was a remote position, which was great. Great position too. Great company. Fortune 500, right? This is also a Fortune 500 company. That's not the point, all right? He called and I'm like, what is going on, right? It's like there's something working in my favor in the universe, right? And we just chatted, right? He told me about the position again, told me about the role, told me about everything that's involved, right? And he's like, how about you call such and such that I worked with, right? And speak to them and see what they think. So I called up this guy. I have all their numbers. I called him. I'm like, what do you think? Like, how's this job? What do you think? Is it good? Do you like it? Blah, 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 blah. Is it a good fit? What do you think? And this guy was like, listen, we've been talking about you for years, and you've been on our list of people that we wanted to come over, but we just never thought you would come. And like, they were just so positive about the position. And I'm like, these people are gonna be honest with me, right? Like, I've worked with them. I can tell when they're bullshitting me. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm game. Like, my only hang up is that I need a remote position or a position in Florida, because this time around, I'm not just gonna settle for anything, right? If I'm going to switch jobs, it needs to be worth it. It needs to be something that I wanna do, right? And he's like, oh, we were looking for somebody in New York, but we have remote positions open as well. Like, everybody works remote, it's fine. Talk to me. So I was like, yeah, what do you think? I'm like, yeah, this definitely sounds great. So, you know, he sends me the rec. So you have to apply on the website, whatever. You apply to the position, upload your resume, all this. And then he calls me and he's like, okay, so we want to make you an offer. And I'm like, so I don't have to interview? Like, you know, and I hate interviews. Let me tell you how much I hate interviews, which is kind of the reason I did the interview for the last job that I got anyway, because I wanted to get interview practice, like low key. That's what I wanted to get. I didn't think I would get the job. I was just practicing so I could get like comfortable with interviews. Lo and behold, I got the job. So anyway, he was like, you don't interview, like we spoke, like that's it. I know you. And he was like, here's the offer. We can't match the salary that you put in, which again is my salary that I got a good jump, right? So he's like, we can't match that. However, this position is a bonus position. So you get a quarterly bonus. So you can actually essentially make the same or more than the salary that you put in. And I work remote. You don't have to tell me twice, child. So I was like, say less. Say less. And I'm going to work with people that I already know, that I'm already comfortable with, that I get along with, that have a positive vibe. Say less. I was like, send me the offer, child. Now here's the thing. So they sent me the offer and I was like holding out because I'm like, I want to do this other interview because that job has a higher salary and it's also remote. So maybe, you know, and yeah, they reached out to me again. Like they were like, hey, are you going to accept the offer? And I'm like, honestly, I want to, but I need something to sweeten the deal. Like, is there a way we can get a boost in salary or maybe even a sign-on bonus? Like, I'm not really fussy, but like I need something extra to really push me over the edge. And they're like, all right, we'll give you this sign-on bonus, right? And I'm like, perfect, thank you so much. Which is why I tell people, this is another tip, advocate for yourself. Again, don't just rush into accepting a job. Like, make sure it works out in your favor, okay? It's gonna work out for them. You're going in, you're gonna do the job. Hopefully you do a great job, right? They already saw the positives in you, so advocate for yourself. So I was like, I need a sign-on bonus. And they were like, okay, here's what we can do. And I'm like, thank you so much. So I went ahead and accepted the job. All that to say, I just started a new job. Oh, I told you it was a long story, so here's what happened. I gave my 2 weeks notice to my other job. And I was like, peace, bye, love you so much. Thanks so much for the opportunity, but I'm gonna need to go, okay? I'm gonna need to relocate to Florida. Y'all are not doing that. I'm gonna need to go, okay? So they were like, what you mean? Where you going? I need to go, baby. I need to go. So after 3 months at that job, I left. I know. It was literally 3 months in. So I made kind of a new record at that company, leaving after 3 months. So anyway, started the new job, left one, started a new one. And here's the thing. Here's where the voice, this comes into play. So I started this new job. My last video, my very last video that you guys saw that said I was on my way to the airport, I was actually on my way to Texas. So the position is a consultant. I'm a consultant engineer, which means I help out various companies get what they need to get done, right? That's the gist of it, right? So I'm like not stuck doing one thing for one company. There's so many different things I could do, so many different companies I could work with, so many different products I could work with, right? So I have my expertise in certain areas, I have my specialties, but here I can grow and learn different products, different areas, like different technologies, right? Get really deep into it because we have such a diverse staff that I can learn from them. Like photovoltaic technology, that's something that I'm jumping into. Like, all this is out there for me to learn, right? So I was like, all right, great. So the position is remote, right? So they're gonna mail your equipment, all that stuff. But my manager that I already worked with before, he was like, hey, so how do you feel about going to the Texas office to do your onboarding? And I'm like, I'm down. Like, what are we doing here? He's like, yeah, let's meet up. You know, I want to go over there and chat with a couple of the guys over there. So how about we meet up over there and we'll just get your equipment and everything done there. And I'm like, perfection, let's go, right? Boom, boom, bam, I go to Texas. So that's what my trip was. I was heading to the airport to head to my new job, all right? So we meet in Texas for 2 days. I was there Monday, Tuesday, got my laptop, met the people, did a tour of the facility, met with the director again. Oh, really great guy. The team there, oh my God, they're so warm, so welcoming. Everybody's like, everybody loves what they do. And I love that energy, right? The energy was right. Like, oh my God, it's so different from the previous job that I started. Because when I started, those people look so drained and like so defeated. Like they look so stressed out. And I'm like, what the hell kind of situation? Oh, did I show you my outfit? I am so all over the place. Here's my little outfit, all right? So it's a little sweater set. I think I got this from Target. But it's a Mickey Mouse sweater set, you know. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is the people at that job looked really stressed out and they did not look very enthused about what they did. So this was such a different experience. These people were so happy, so excited. Even when things like they had hiccups, everybody was still very positive and they were so helpful. And the director gave me like a tour of the facility. He was hands-on in like setting up the facility. So he had all the background information. And I was just so impressed by these people. I'm like, oh, I am so ready for this, right? So spent 2 days there. But then here's this other thing, all right? So here's the kicker. I get the opportunity to go to Tesla. So remember now, I'm a consultant engineer, a consultant, right? So I can work with different companies. So my manager was like, hey, we have a project going on with Tesla right now. They're setting up a mega factory in California. Do you want to go? Yeah, I want to go with the, what you mean? What you mean? So I left Texas Tuesday, right? Headed to California. So they're in North California, right? Outside of San Francisco. So I was like, all right, so I head there Tuesday. Wednesday, I show up at Tesla. I know, right? So this, I mean, come on. How many people get to say that, right? So I go and I'm working with Tesla, and I was supposed to be there for 3 weeks because the project manager on that was like, listen, it's a big project. They need people here on site. Can you stay? And I'm like, I'll stay for 2-3 weeks. No problem, right? So I'm there at Tesla, living my best life, right? I spend Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I head to San Francisco because I'm going to spend the weekend instead of flying back to New York and then flying back again. So I just stayed in San Francisco. How come y'all didn't tell me San Francisco was this cold? Oh my God. So I spent the weekend in San Francisco, right? Having a good time, walking up and down the hills. The hills were not as bad as I expected, but they were, it was a lot of walking. Like I got my steps in, child. I went to Alcatraz, so I definitely needed to do that tour. Did that. That was interesting. I didn't know about the fact that the Indians took over, the Native American Indians, and I was like, this is so, I didn't know about that occupation. I didn't know the history of it. Like, what? And like we went into the cells, like, you know, that little tour that they did, right? That was cool. Had a good time. Had some good eats. Let me tell you something about San Francisco. It is expensive. Do not drive there because parking, I spent $45 a day for parking at the hotel. Like, it wasn't even at the hotel. It was a parking garage away from the hotel. These are the kinds of people I like, all right? You know, I know, tell me about the deal. So this guy was like, listen, you can spend $69. It was $69 or $72 for the valet at the hotel to park the car and like do the 24-hour back and forth thing. Or you can go around the corner, park in the parking garage for $45 for that 24-hour self-parking in and out. You can do all that, right? I was like, oh, thank you. So I spent $45 a day for parking. What? Okay. So you had to do that. And then I know California has a lot of homeless people, but it's not just homeless people. It's like people that are really struggling with addiction, and it's so bad. And it was so sad. More than anything, it was just so sad to see people really struggling through these things. And I'm like, oh my God, like the drug crisis, like it is bad, especially in California. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I got so many warnings. The rental car people were like, oh, don't leave anything in your car. They'll smash out the windows to grab your purse or grab anything of value. And I'm like, what? So what kind of crime is going on? The hotel was like, all right, you can go left or you can go right. But if you go right, there are like tons of restaurants, tons of things to do, museums, all this stuff, all the sites. Go left and it's a problem. It's a little rough. You don't want to go left. And I'm like, I don't even know my left from my right. I still struggle with that. Like, what are you doing to me? He's like, and I'm just like, I don't like all these warnings. A couple of you guys reached out to me in DMs. You're like, sis, we see you in San Francisco. You in the Bay Area. You in my hood. How about you don't leave anything in your car? And I'm like, y'all are making me too nervous. It's too much. It's too much. And there's signs everywhere telling you that not to leave anything in your car. And I'm like, it is that bad that you have like permanent signage warnings telling you not to leave anything in your car? What is going on? What is going on over there? Y'all stop. Beautiful place though. Beautiful, beautiful. Alcatraz was cool. You know, I went to the Golden Gate Bridge. Cool, nice, cute. Like everything was cute. Like the scenery was nice, the greenery nice, the landscape cute, the views cute. However, I didn't appreciate how cold it was. I was not prepared. I was literally not prepared. Like I'm leaving New York thinking, oh, I'm going somewhere warmer. Bitch, I damn near froze my tits off. I was freezing, especially to go to Alcatraz, because you know you need to go on the ferry to go over there, and it's cold on the water especially. Girl, I was so cold. I was cold. I was so stressed. I didn't like it, all right? I will not be going back to San Francisco. I'll go through San Francisco, but I'm definitely not hanging out in San Francisco. I'm sorry. That is not the place for me. One of the Uber drivers said to me, so I took an Uber one of the times because I went walking, right? And to come back, I was like, I need an Uber, child. So I went to the Chinese gate, you know, the entrance to Chinatown in that area. Anyway, the point is, okay, the Uber driver was like, yeah, this is the weather year round. I'm like, what do you mean year round? So y'all don't have like a summer where it's warm? He's like, no, this is the temperature all year round. And I'm like, I could never, okay? At least in New York, like I hate the cold, right? At least in New York, we have like spring and summer and fall where it's kind of comfortable and summer where it's really warm. So I'm like, you mean to tell me y'all suffer through this 60-degree, 50-degree weather all year round? No, baby. Not at all. And then the elevation because of, oh, no. I was so perturbed. I'm like, I cannot do this. How y'all doing this? So anyway, he's like, this is year round. And I'm like, So there's no point where I'm going to be warm. Nah. Cut that out. So yeah, San Francisco is a one and done for me. Cute. Y'all are cute. But nah. I'm good. I am so good. Never going back. I'll go through, but never going back. All right. So anyway, now I'm at Tesla. I'm having a grand old time. I'm learning all these things. I'm like meeting my colleagues. I'm meeting the Tesla people. Like they're really like rush, like get this done because they're like you know, they need to get stuff done. It was really a great experience, right? Guess what happened? So I was at Tesla that week. The second week I was there, like I left San Francisco. I was there the second week. So we worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday, feel a little, what's that? But I was like, all right, I was in San Francisco. It was cold, like the change in weather, because now I go a little bit further. Was it north or no? I came a little bit more northeast from San Francisco. It was more east, but a little north, but mostly east, right? So I'm east of San Francisco. I'm extra warm. It's like 10 to 15 degrees warmer. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, maybe I'm catching a little cold because of that switching climate. Like I went from New York to Dallas, then from Dallas, I'm in San Francisco, and now I'm in this other place in California, right? So lo and behold, I was like, not feeling too good, not feeling great. Ooh, what's that, right? Child, Friday I had a whole fever. And I'm like, oh shit. This is not good. This is not good, right? Why would I have a fever? A cold isn't gonna give me a fever. So I said, let me take a COVID test, right? So I go get a test from Walgreens. I'm like double masked up, like hand sanitizer, just grabbing the test and going. And I took the test, and it was like a slight line. So there are two lines that's supposed to say you're positive. And I'll show you a test result that shows full-on positive because the person I got it from had a full-on positive, all right? So my test, though, had a little faint second line, but they were like, even if it's really faint, even if it's like barely noticeable, you still got COVID. I'm like, I don't like that. But it was like the onset of the symptoms, right? So I was like, all right, you know what, chill. I'll take the PCR test, right? So that was Thursday, Friday, right? Friday I had the fever, and that's when I took the test. Child, Saturday, I had scheduled myself for like a drive-through PCR test, you know, to make sure, like, let's check this for sure. I was going nowhere on Saturday, child. Let me tell you how achy I wasn't really, I wouldn't say I was achy. I was tired. I could barely get up without my head pounding. I was tired. It was fatigue and fever, and I was just like, ooh, I am going nowhere. No. So Saturday, I was down for the count, all right? But now remember, I need to go to work, so I need this test to confirm like what's going on. So I was like, all right, Sunday, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Sunday, where you going? No, I still couldn't move for Sunday. Meanwhile, I'm like putting the do not disturb sign on the hotel room. I'm in a hotel, right? So the do not disturb, I'm getting DoorDash, I'm getting Instacart, I'm getting all these things delivered to my door, like leave it at the door, leave me alone, right? So I'm quarantined, holed up in this hotel, trying to bide my time until I did the actual PCR test. So finally on Monday, I felt a little bit better. I felt good enough to actually go and do the drive-through test. So I went, did the test. You know, you do your self-swabbing, whatever. And so I'm waiting for the results. It's like 48 hours before you get the results. I'm like, I need the results now, child, because I need to tell these people something. So I had to message my manager. I'm like, so I think I got COVID and I don't know what to do because I need to be at Tesla in a couple of days and I don't think I'm gonna make it. He's like, what? Because I sent him the test and whatever. I'm like, I'm waiting for the PCR test. And he's like, don't worry about it. You get well, you rest, don't worry about work, don't worry about anything, which is why I'm telling you, like, I love my manager, okay? My new manager, I love him, right? So I'm at the hotel, just laid up, trying to get better, like, trying to eat. I really didn't have much of an appetite. I didn't lose my sense of taste or smell. So my symptoms were a fever, right? So I had that fever, I had the fatigue, I was so tired, I was so worn out, which when you get a fever, you feel like that, so you just want to sleep. My eyes were burning a lot, okay? I just wanted to sleep. I didn't lose my sense of taste and smell, but I didn't really have an appetite. It wasn't that I didn't taste the food, it's just nothing tasted really like delicious. Like I didn't want to be bothered to eat because it was a task and I couldn't be bothered, right? And then I got the stuffy head, the stuffy nose, like the congestion. Oh my God, that was so bad. Like I could barely hear anything. My head felt heavy. Like my ears wouldn't pop. Like, whew, oh God, okay. And then there's this tension headache that I had from the sinus pressure. Awful, awful, awful. I was stuffy and all this, right? Didn't have like a real serious cough or anything. I still don't really have a serious cough. I have kind of like a on and off dry cough, right? So, all right, test comes back, COVID. Tina, you got COVID. I'm really coughing now because I'm talking too much, but I'm telling you guys a story. So, test results came back. Tina, you got COVID. Don't know what to tell you. Sit your ass down in this hotel. So I'm just like, what? Now I'm stuck in a hotel. I can't even go home. Like, I'm so mad, right? Can't go to work. I just started this job 2 weeks ago. Look at this. Like, what is going on? I was so upset, okay? But at the same time, I'm so sick. I'm like, I couldn't go anywhere anyway. So I was just in the hotel again for 5 days, I think. After 5 days, my fever finally broke. So I was like, all right, I feel a little bit better, right? So the whole thing is after about 5 days, you're no longer contagious once your symptoms start, right? 5 to 10 days, really. But my fever broke. I was feeling a little better and I wanted to get home. And I don't suggest this, honestly, truly. And if I had a choice, I wouldn't have done it. But I needed to get home. And I had all these plans because I was supposed to go to LA for the second weekend and meet up with a couple of YouTube friends. Like, I had this whole plan to like spend the weekend in LA and then go back to work, and it was gonna be a whole thing. Like, I was so excited. Did not happen. Did not happen. So I packed myself up, like hand sanitizer, like wipes, the whole nine, double masked up. Went to the airport. Mind you, people don't have to wear their masks at the airport anymore. Don't even, okay? But I did my best, okay, to like minimize my contact with people. Again, I have my mask on. I wasn't coughing, thankfully, so that was like a good way to like keep everything in. And I made it home on Saturday, okay? And it was like a week and a couple of days, so I felt a little bit better about traveling like that, but at the same time I wish I had the full 2 weeks. But it was about like nine days. Yeah, about 9 days. So I was, all right, I'm gonna take the chance. And I felt better, right? I don't sound really great, which is the voice. So all this time you've been hearing this voice and you're probably like, what's going on? And I'm finally telling you why I have this voice. So I'm not 100% better. I would say I'm like 87%, and that's a random percentage, but my voice, a little bit tricky. I'm not stuffy anymore. Thank God. I don't have the sinus pressure. Haven't had a fever. I'm still a little bit fatigued in that I just want to sleep, right? But I'm not like so tired that I can't go anywhere. And I think a lot of it has to do with me not moving for a good week. So I need to just get my endurance back up. I don't have any breathing issues. Like, I don't have any congestion. I'm not wheezing. And I've had bronchitis. So I've had really bad coughing fits before. Like, I have none of that, thankfully. Oh my God, thank God. All I had was like a fever, a headache, like fatigue and stuff. I don't know what the long-term effects will be. Hopefully there will be none. I'm vaccinated, so I'm thinking that kind of helped me. I don't feel like really too fatigued anymore, just a little sleepy, and the voice. So my throat, it's not that my throat is itchy, like it's not itchy at all, but I have like a slight cough. If I talk too much, right, I will get a cough. And so I'm trying not to talk too much, but slight cough, nothing crazy, just the voice and a little bit of mucus. So I'll cough up a little bit of mucus, but it's not a lot and it's not thick or, you know, it's just a little bit. And I thankfully didn't have like heavy mucus going on. So that I felt good about. And all I could really do was just drink. Warm liquids helped me. I did Theraflu, Tylenol, Robitussin, and believe it or not, Sprite. So Sprite helps my throat, like especially the McDonald's Sprite. I know, right? Random, but it helps like soothe my throat a little bit. The carbonation, I don't know. Anyway, helps to soothe my throat. My blood oxygen level is fine. Like everything is fine. So I feel really lucky in that way. And I'm thinking I got like one of the variants that were a little bit milder. So my symptoms, while I was going through it, felt like death. When I really look back on it, the symptoms weren't that terrible. When I got my second dose, I had a fever for 2 days and some fatigue and like some aches. And to me, it was kind of similar to that experience, but it was more than 2 days. It was now 5 days full on like fatigue and fever and stuff. So while I was going through it, it felt awful, but it wasn't really that bad. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't too awful. I really sweated out. I came home. I was able to make my own soup. Oh God, which I love. I make like a chicken soup with butternut squash instead of pumpkin. You know, Jamaican love pumpkin and chicken foot. No, I use butternut squash, which is a little bit creamier and it tastes so good. But I made my own soup and it tastes so good and I feel so much better. I know I don't sound like really great, but I feel much better. And I'm just happy to be in my own space so I can like fully recover and rest and stuff, because I never got a full night's sleep. Like I didn't get to really rest, and now that I'm in my own bed, like I'm getting to really rest and I feel like a lot better. So much so that I also colored my hair. So let me just insert. So I had some dark roots, child. So if you've ever taken like a week-long trip or like a 2-week trip, then you know a couple of things happen when you come home. You have to tweeze your eyebrows. My eyebrows were a mess, okay? There was just hair everywhere because I tweeze my brows like every day or every other day. So I had to tweeze these brows, child, and I needed to touch up my roots. Like my roots still look a little bit dark. I can probably blend that a little. Now it looks fine because, you know, we're not going with the full-on blonde. So I touched up my roots, bleached my roots. My roots were about here. Yeah, you can probably see the line. There were black roots, right? And you can see it in the insert. So I went ahead, lightened up my roots, and I told you guys in the last video when I colored my hair that I wanted to do a little bit more blonde in like some streaks, some little highlights throughout my hair. So I did that myself. So I added like blonde highlights. Well, are they like really blonde? Yeah, like they're like a caramel blonde, like a lighter blonde. And like you can see it, right? I really love how it turned out. I can do some more blending, and I'm just getting used to doing this color situation to my hair again, but I'm not really comfortable doing it now. So I'm gonna do a little bit more, but I think overall, like, come on now. You all know I did a decent job. Like, look at that. What? So I colored my hair and washed, straightened everything. And that's the other thing, like every time I took a shower every day, okay, because that made me feel better, but I couldn't even stand up in the shower. I would have to sit and like take a little bath with the shower beating down on me, but that made me feel much better. I just always wanted to shower because I felt so icky, okay, and I kept washing my hair. I washed my hair like every other day just to feel better, like to feel fresher. But I got home and I was able to use my own like shampoo and conditioner and like do the whole thing, and I feel so refreshed and I feel better. I just feel so much better. Y'all don't understand. But what else? Oh, so I'm still moving. I'm still moving, all right? But not to Connecticut. I'm now moving to Florida, all right? And I'm trying to move at the end of this month. So the end of May. It might roll into the second week of June. I already have like my moving truck and everything. I have boxes. I just need to actually pack and then find a place. But I think I already found a place. And once you find your place, it's like quick to sign the lease and do all that. So I'm not worried about that. But I'm gonna go to Florida next week, all right? And find my place, sign the lease, do all that stuff, order the furniture for delivery for when like I'm actually moving, and then pack my stuff up here, which I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm gonna have to do that quickly, and I don't know how well I'm gonna do that. Like, my clothes are like my nightmare right now. I'm like, I don't want to pack my clothes, but like I paid the movers to do my packing, so I just have to pack like my personal things and like sort through the things that I'm getting rid of. So anyway, long story short, I'm moving to Florida. I'm moving to Fort Lauderdale to be around my family, be close to my mom. And so I'm still moving, just not to Connecticut anymore, not for that old job, because we got a new job and we work remote, so we gonna do the damn thing. So things are gonna change, things are gonna be a lot hectic. All right, a lot hectic in the upcoming weeks, so I don't know how much content I'm going to be able to put out, but I'll try my best. You know, I'm gonna try my best. And I low-key kind of like the voice right now, so I kind of want to film a couple more videos with this voice. And for all those people that tell me that I'm yelling, hopefully this voice is a little bit more low-key, a little bit more so y'all can handle it a little better. I'm not screaming, see? And I can't really scream because if I start screaming, then I start coughing. And I also got a new camera. So this camera is new. I'm hoping that the quality is a little bit better. Still using the same lens, but this is the Canon 90D. I don't know that this is like the ultimate in quality, but like I don't want to spend $4,000 on a camera, you know, because this channel doesn't really pay me that much. So I'm like, anything that I get from the channel, from AdSense, I kind of put back into the channel. But what I'm getting ain't gonna buy a $5,000 camera. You get what I'm saying? So I'm doing my best with what we got going on. And I mean, it's not my career, so I'm not trying to like invest too much into it. You know what I mean? But I still wanted to get this new camera. So hopefully the quality is a little bit better. I know my lighting has been off too. Like things look green, it's just off. So hopefully at my new place, which is one of my goals, is to get a place with a lot of natural sunlight. But the thing about it is, what I don't like about sunlight is that I don't want sunlight directly on my makeup, because that ages your makeup too. So like I have to navigate that. I have to get like a different setup at that new place. So we're gonna try to factor that into the place that I get. So that's all coming up. I don't know how much of it I will film. Some people said they wanted to see me film, well, actually wanted me to film like packing the makeup. So I got like honeycomb, it's honeycomb paper instead of bubble wrap to wrap a lot of my makeup products. And we're gonna see how that goes. A lot of the stuff though, I'm not too worried about. I take that back. But like lip products and like concealers that are in tubes, that was a lot. But like some of these things I'm not too worried about, but foundations and like my palettes especially, and then like blushes and bronzers that are in compacts, I'm gonna need to worry about. So let me know if you guys want me to like show you what I'm packing and how I'm navigating that stuff with like the beauty space. So we'll do that, and I'll take you along, show you the new place. I'll do what I can, all right? But like I said, there's gonna be a lot of moving parts. I'm working, I'm traveling, I'm like doing a lot, trying to pack, trying to find, like it's a lot that's going on in the next couple of days. So in the next couple of weeks. So if I'm absent, that's where I am. But I wanted to give you guys a update, and it's been a really long one. And I'm surprised I was able to talk this long without like having a really serious coughing fit. So there you have it. That's what's going on with me. But hopefully you guys are staying safe and doing well. I mean, don't be out here getting COVID, okay? I had gone without getting COVID for 2+ years, And mind you, I was in Italy when this whole thing started. I left Italy the weekend before they shut the country down. I left on Saturday, they shut the country down on Monday, okay? So I was like, I was already like exposed to the whole thing, and I haven't gotten COVID this whole time. And now I'm not one of those special people that haven't gotten COVID yet. So low key, I miss my badge of honor, but I'm hoping some of this natural immunity will help me out in the future, because it's not cute. You don't want to get it. Get vaccinated, guys, because if this had been worse, I don't know what I would have done. It was like a really, really bad case of the flu, and it's like a longer recovery period. So I don't know. We'll see how I feel in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to need my strength because I've got a lot to do. So I'll keep you guys posted. And I want to do a haul video, actually, because I picked up a couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys. Yes, this is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder. We'll see. I'm actually wearing it now. And I'm wearing a couple of new things. So I'll probably do a haul video and like try out some new products for you guys, but I just don't know when I'll get around to it. So hopefully you guys stick around. Say hi to me on Twitter and Instagram, because there you can keep up with me, because I'm a little bit more active there, obviously. And yeah, let me know what you guys want me to talk about in future videos. If there are any products that you guys want me to test out, to try out, if there are any looks that you want to see, if there are any topics you guys want me to cover, then let me know. It's easier to do like talking videos like this, because then I'm not putting on makeup. And honestly, I don't feel like putting on makeup. My eyes, like I said, they were burning, so all I managed to do are my brows. I put on some mascara, and like I put a little concealer on my eyelids because they were really dark. I put concealer on, and then this balm thing with powder. So I don't even have foundation on. So I think my skin is looking pretty good for someone that was sick. And that was another great thing. Like, my skin was looking fantastic. Didn't have a breakout, didn't have any dryness. Like, my skin was looking really great, and I was surprised. Being sick, like, no like dry skin, no stripping skin, nothing. Like, my skin was looking good, okay? Just the brows were messy and my roots. But apart from that, like I said, let me know what you guys want to see. I'm gonna stop talking now because I haven't spoken to you guys in so long that I'm just talking like nonstop right now. So I'm gonna shut up. But hopefully you guys, again, are staying safe. Hug your loved ones, because the streets ain't safe, all right? Still wear your mask. I was wearing my mask. That's the thing. I know who I got it from, and it was somebody who I thought like I was fine or being around. They got the whole COVID and gave it to me. Okay, so I was safe. It's always, you know what? It's the ones that's closest to you that's always gonna get you caught out here looking crazy, right? So, child, I was being safe otherwise, and thankfully I didn't infect anybody else. So none of my colleagues got it, none of the people at Tesla got it. Thank God I didn't infect anyone. Like, when my symptoms showed up, I was by myself. So thankfully I didn't infect anyone, and hopefully I'll get better soon. So like I said, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I will leave the links down below. I don't have anything else to leave down below. Oh, you can buy me a coffee. Well, really, you'll be buying me like Robitussin, but I'll leave that link down below as well. Anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping. I'm gonna go. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.